What does justice look like in America?
It's about literal generations of poverty being attacked because people cannot afford their freedom.
Almost 500,000 people are sitting in a jail cell tonight, and they haven't been found guilty of any crime.
Here, people are actually being held solely because they cannot afford to pay. That's the only reason.
This is cash bail.
$500, $1,000, $5,000. In communities where families are one check away from devastation, bail is devastation.
In this 3-part series from AJ Plus, we'll look at how bail rips families apart.
I'm just a regular mom, and they threw me into jail like I was a hardened criminal.
How the for-profit bail industry breeds distrust.
These people are lost children. They are going to hide. They're going to run.
And the disruptors who are reimagining what public safety should look like.
Simply having money does not make you a better human being.
It's just purely a wealth-based detention scheme, full stop.
There is a war on Black people, and in order for us to love each other well, we have to fight for our freedom.
In America, we shouldn't have to buy our freedom, but that's exactly what bail forces us to do.
Okay, picture this.
You're driving down the street. You make an illegal U-turn. A cop pulls up your record. You've got a warrant for not paying some speeding tickets. You get booked. A judge uses what's called a bail schedule to set a predetermined amount of $500 based on the alleged crime. If you can post it, you walk out. If not, you sit in jail until trial.
That's bail, paying money to the court so you can secure your release from jail while you wait for your trial. But what if you can't afford it? Take a look. Most of the people in jail right now across the US haven't been found guilty of any crime. In the eyes of the law, they're innocent. That's almost 500,000 people just waiting in what's called pre-trial detention.
That's more people than some countries have in their jails and prisons combined. My name is Montega Simmons, and I am a bail reform activist in St. Louis, Missouri. These people are in jail because they can't pay to get out. It's kind of backwards. First you get punished, and then at the end of your jail time, they figure out if you actually did it.
Bail has been sold to us as like the solution, but it's not. It's the problem. It's what's keeping our jails so swollen.
This is Mary Moreno. She's an organizer in Houston, Texas, who helps bail people out of jail who can't afford it.
Money shouldn't be the deciding factor whether you're in jail or not. They say, how can you not have $500? But a lot of people don't have $500, right? The American justice system is actually rigged to favor the rich.
And being rich can mean different things to different people. 40% of Americans can't afford to come up with $400 in an emergency. So imagine you're this woman who had to come up with $2,000.
You're a grandmother in Texas. You're babysitting your grandson. He runs out into the street. Nothing bad happens, but a driver calls the cops. You get booked. Your bail is set at $2,000. You can't afford that, so you sit in jail for 2 weeks until a community group advocates for your release.
It wasn't anything, right? Children run into the street all the time. This police officer, when he arrived, he sees a criminal and he's like, I'm gonna take you to jail. Instead of like, how can I help you?
Black and brown folks are policed both more harshly and more frequently than their white counterparts, and the system just builds from there.
Blake Strode represents people who are targeted and criminalized by the legal system.
Once you've labeled someone as a criminal, they're sort of in a subhuman category. Shows like Law & Order, they're popular because they feed into this notion that we already believe about good and bad. You've never seen an episode that focused on the ways in which implicit bias determines who's getting policed in the first place. You'll never see an episode that talks about rampant use of force in a poor Black community, disparities in sentencing and charging. You also never see the cost in people's lives.
Here's what he means.
You're a mom of 7 kids. You're accused of stealing 2 beers. You get booked. A judge sets bail at $15,000. You can't pay, so you spend 9 months in jail. You lose your job. You miss your grandmother's funeral, and you get separated from your kids.
People who cannot afford bail experience these catastrophic setbacks that are just incredibly hard to come out of.
That's Z. Gorley. They lead media efforts at a law firm in St. Louis, Missouri.
The central theme I hear from people impacted by cash bail is loss. Loss of time with their children, with their brothers and sisters, with their parents.
You have this system that is operating in all elements of a person's life in a systemically racist way, from the use of force at that initial arrest, the charges, the sentencing, and then the conditions that people are held in.
So let's break that down. Statistically, Black and brown people are more likely to be arrested, more likely to get assigned bail, and less likely to be able to afford it. And the amount they have to pay can be totally unrealistic. The median bail for a felony is $10,000. The median annual income for someone who's arrested is $19,000.
Bail has absolutely nothing to do with the thing we're taught in like grade school, which is that you're innocent until proven guilty. It's just purely a wealth-based detention scheme, full stop.
And people will say, oh, they were only there for a few weeks or a few days.
In fact, spending just 3 days in jail can actually start to change the legal outcome of cases.
You can't help collect evidence. You can't meet with your attorney as often as you may want to or may need to.
Pretrial detention can lead people to plead guilty to a crime they didn't commit.
Meet Judge Daryl Jordan of Harris County, Texas. He's helping to reform the bail system there.
It's a plea bargain system instead of a criminal justice system.
Remember, the vast majority of cases in the U.S. never make it to trial. You see, prosecutors know that people just want to go home.
When you have to make a decision, do I plead this case and go home or stay here and fight it and risk losing everything that I have, most people are going to take the conviction.
In a perfect world, you'd get arrested and tried on the same day. But in reality, it can take so much longer than that. So bondsmen like J.L. McIntyre offer you another way out.
The purpose of the bond industry is to make money.
Here's how it works.
We get a call. Your son was booked. The judge sets bail at $100,000. You sign a contract guaranteeing he'll show up in court. Your bond fee is $10,000. It could be more, it could be less. We get him out of jail.
We refer to ourselves as the grease that keeps the wheels of the criminal justice system moving.
Ken Good is an attorney for the Texas bail bonds industry.
These people are lost children. They need somebody there to hold their hand and explain to them, this is the process. This is what we need to do to get you back on track. We will come and get you. We'll take you to the court. And yes, there's a ton of babysitting involved, but that's what we do. That's what we've been doing for 200 years.
So the for-profit bail industry is built on this really shaky, disproven myth that people won't come back to court unless they have money to lose. But policy changes have shown that people do come back. Take Washington, D.C., for example. The district got rid of cash bail in 1992. Since then, they've had a 90% response rate for people who are let go.
People want to go back to their lives. They want to be with their families and friends, their church, their community. It's not like they have, endless amount of resources to just up and move and start a whole new life.
I think that there are people who really believe that the whole problem is we have poor people and they should not be held accountable because they're poor. I was raised in a very small town. We were poor, and we were always taught that if you work hard, you can overcome.
There's almost an expectation in this pull yourself up by your bootstraps society that the person just needs to do it themselves. They just need to get their life together. But what no one is talking about is this overarching oppressive system.
Let's break that cycle. Let's help people. So instead of investing in incarceration, let's invest in mental health and housing and drug addiction recovery.
And get this, letting people go is actually so much cheaper than keeping them locked up. Right now, taxpayers in Harris County, Texas spend $87 every day for each inmate behind bars. But to release them with services and reminders about showing back up to court, that costs just 83 cents a day.
Instead, we want to criminalize them, lock them up, and throw away the key.
And so, jail populations just keep growing. Between 1999 and 2014, the number of people held in jail before trial accounted for 99% of the total growth. Which begs the question, what if the bail system is doing more harm than good? Or worse, what if it's just broken?
The bail system is functioning just as it was always intended to. You can peel back the pages of history, going back to slavery, what happened after Civil War, and black codes and Jim Crow. Now we are in the new Jim Crow. As America continues this struggle for civil rights and for human rights and the movement for Black lives, it's almost like with every push forward, there is a socially conservative push backwards. What are all those waves accomplishing? They are accomplishing the engineering of Black invisibility.
We often think about young Black men being the ones behind bars, but women are becoming a critical group who are locked up and forgotten.
I lost my apartment, I lost my job, I had to rebuild everything, and I'm still rebuilding.
In part 2 of our series, we'll take a look at women whose lives have been irreversibly impacted by the bail system.
I just want answers. I want to know why and how the system failed my mother.
Hey guys, it's Angie. Thanks for watching. Do you know somebody who's been impacted by cash bail? We want to hear your stories. Tell us about it in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to AJ Plus.